my god, they're treating her so awful. Ugh, I hate them. Ooh, it has like little dragon hands, claws, talons. Ah! Bloodworm! My little long neck noodle! I like it. Okay, girl. But I think he likes it too. Hello everyone, my name is Michelle and thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you could, give it a like before exiting. Today we'll be watching the second episode of House of the Dragon. Okay, so today we're getting into House of the Dragon, the second episode, but before we do, I first want to say thank you to the commenter who pointed out that I put Aemma Targaryen rather than Aemma Arryn. I don't know why I did that. In the episode I said Aemma Arryn, but I put Aemma Targaryen in the title. So the second I saw your comment, I switched it, and thank you so much. Okay, so in the last episode, we said goodbye to Aemma, and that was difficult to watch. As you saw, my heart goes out to Viserys. There's a part of me that's angry at him for not telling her, and then there's another part of me that's equally sympathetic, because how do you, I mean, in the ideal situation, yeah, you would want him to be able to look his wife in the eye and tell her the truth, and maybe even bring Rhaenyra in there and let her get a chance to say goodbye, and have Aemma give like maybe one last like piece of advice to her daughter before they went forward, and just, you know, hold Aemma's hand and have them look into each other's eyes. And yes, she's in it and only she's feeling that pain, and only she's gonna have to deal with the knowledge that she's not going to be able to see her child grow up, or Rhaenyra either. But at least she's not alone in the sense that she's not the only one who does not know what's about to happen. Everyone knows what's about to happen. Everyone said they made their peace to the extent in which they can make their peace in the time that they had, because she was just laying there. It seemed like she wasn't in any extreme danger. Like, I feel like they could have gotten like Rhaenyra quickly, given like maybe 20 minutes to say goodbye and then let her go. But I don't know, just you want Viserys to be strong enough to do that, but at the same time you understand, how can you look the one you love in the eye and say, you're gonna die, and you're gonna die brutally, and there's nothing we can do to help you? That I can see both sides, both being difficult, not being able to tell her and tell her. But Viserys does go forward with not telling her, and she dies, the baby dies, and now it seems like he's isolating himself, because Rhaenyra says she hasn't seen him since the funeral. He's grieving, he's all alone, and now we have Otto preying on that isolation, preying on that loneliness, preying on his guilt, on his grief, losing both wife, child. His daughter hasn't seen him. Well, he hasn't spoken to her since the funeral. And now he sends Alicent his way. He's just taking advantage of Viserys, which I think he's been doing for a very long time. And speaking of Alicent, she's also being taken advantage of by Otto. She's vulnerable, and she's being put in place to manipulate a vulnerable man. They're both vulnerable to Otto. Strangely enough, it's not just Viserys and Alicent who's been taken advantage of. It's also Rhaenyra. He specifically puts her up as heir because she's a girl, and she's gonna be able to be done away with in his mindset. Like, she, you know, once the boy's born, what can she do? She's gone. She's out of the equation. And he's using the fact that she is the fact that she's a girl, to just put her up and use her. So she's also being taken advantage of. And I can't imagine what she's going through, because she's lost her mother, she's lost her brother, her father's isolating herself, and on top of that, it seems like the only person she has a relationship with where she can confide into someone, Daemon, she's now put at like odds with him. That relationship is now fraught because he's been disinherited in favor of her. So now there's a strain there as well, and she's sort of lost that. So she's lost her mother, lost her brother, lost her father in certain aspects, is about to lose her best friend Alicent, because I don't see how this goes well. Her friendship with Alicent is now being jeopardized by Otto's schemes, and now her relationship with her uncle is there's now this tension there because of Otto's manipulations. Otto. All this for what? For what? But yeah. Both Viserys and Rhaenyra lose Aemma, and I do find myself curious as to why the Maesters had her bathing in tepid water. That just stuck out to me because I just got fit. I was just finished with saying I don't trust these Maesters, and then it cuts to Aemma soaking in a tub, and the first thing Viserys says is, "Why are you're bathing in cool water? Don't the Maesters know like dragons like it hot?" Like, and we know Dany used to bathe in scalding hot water while she was pregnant with Rhaego. So it's like, what's going on there? What are we doing with these Maesters? What the hell are the Maesters doing here? I'm watching the Maesters. I'm watching how they move because I don't think that was a throwaway line. At least I hope it wasn't a throwaway line. Also goes on to speak about a dream that he had. He dreamt of a crown on a head. Now, I think that Targaryens have been dreaming of Dany, and I think they've been mistaking Dany for a boy because her hair burned off. I think it's Dany that he was dreaming of because of that thundering hooves. I don't know. Maybe that's just a red herring. They put that in there just to make you think it's Dany, but I truly believe he saw Dany. I think he saw Dany. The thundering hooves line just brings you back to the stallion that will mount the world prophecy. I still think that's Dany and Drogon. With that being said, there's also another dream prophecy going on, and that's the Song of Ice and Fire. And I don't know how I feel about this yet, because I view the show and the books as separate entities. I think they run on two different lines. They're parallel, but they're on two different lines. I see the books on one side and the shows on another, and I feel like House of the Dragon runs in the same vein as Game of Thrones. So now that Rhaenyra has been put in this position where she has to mine this prophecy of a Targaryen has to be on the throne, the realm has to be united, there's a threat coming from the north, everything she does and does not do will be colored by this prophecy that her father has made her promise to keep aware of as she moves forward. And that promised me, Rhaenyra, when Viserys says it, it reminds me so much of Promise Me Ned. I think that was on purpose. But yeah, everything Rhaenyra now does is colored by this prophecy. But we know how that ends in show canon, show world. We know that a Targaryen wasn't on the throne. We know that the Long Night kind of ended very quickly and unceremoniously, with Arya being the one to defeat the Night King. Now, someone in the comments said that this edition was by George R. R. Martin's his counsel, so I'm assuming this is real. But like I said, so much of the show has already changed in just the first episode that you can't look at them as, it's not a retelling of the actual Dance of Dragons. I don't see it that way. I don't see this. I don't think there's actually a real telling of the Dance of Dragons. I don't think House of the Dragon is a real telling. I don't think Fire and Blood is a real telling. I don't think there ever will be one because it's so far back in history. And I think that's what George R. R. Martin wants. Because I don't think Fire and Blood is just strictly lies or just strictly truth. It's strictly propaganda. I think it would be a waste of his time if he just wrote a book full of propaganda and lies. So I think there's truth in there, but I don't think it's all of it. And I don't think we'll ever get all of it because I don't see the show as a true telling of this is what really happened during this time coming off of Jaehaerys' reign and everything that subsequently happens to House Targaryen as a whole that later impacts it as the story goes forward into where we are with Game of Thrones. I think I chatted enough, but I just wanted to put that out there, that prophecy. The fact that we know where it ends and Rhaenyra's choices are going to be colored by her having to keep in mind that she has this promise to uphold the kingdom. I think it might be frustrating knowing where this ends, and it's like, girl, you're holding fast to a prophecy that has nothing to do with Targaryens, let alone dragons. I mean, I guess dragons were used a couple of times during the Long Night, but not really. I don't know. I think that's just I think it's relevant to the books, the book canon, the actual, like, actual story that George R. R. Martin's writing, I feel like that prophecy and Rhaenyra being mindful of that is relevant to his actual writing, just not relevant to the show given how it all ended. Now I'm gonna stop talking because I feel like I've talked enough. Let's just get into the episode. Episode 2. Oh, what is this? Oh, the crab theater. Ugh. Oh, they're still alive? They're being eaten alive by crabs? Oh my god. This is just disturbing.
4 ships have now been lost. The last one was flying my banner.
I want to know what is to be done about my ships and my men.
The Crown will compensate you for your ship and crew and make an
God,
offering to the men.
Stand Otto.
Compensation.
I am not prepared to start a war with the Free Cities.
These pirates.
Then what are you
not the
prepared
Free
to do?
Cities.
In all of its history, my lord, the Seven Kingdoms have never entered open war with the Free Cities.
Well, why do you think they haven't been to war with them?
What reason does the crab feeder have to fear us?
Fear would be one reason as to why they
The
don't
king's
pick
own
fights.
brother has been allowed to seize Dragonstone and fortify it with an army of his gold cloaks.
It means the Free Cities
from the
aren't
crowd.
afraid.
caution you, Lord.
So Daemon's still on
A seat
Dragonstone.
at the king's table does not make you his equal.
To see if we might find common cause.
Sir, they're attacking you and you want to... There's a reason why they're doing this. They want to
You
see
have
how you'll
dragon rifles,
respond.
Father.
They're testing you.
Send us.
It isn't that simple, Rhaenyra.
It would be a show of
Oh
force.
god, they're gonna talk down to
At
her,
least the
aren't
princess has a plan.
Perhaps there's some better use for the princess's talent.
they? Oh my god, I hate them so much. It's like nominating someone to fail. Oh my god, they're treating her so... Ugh, I hate them. And why did you put her up if that's how you're gonna treat her? Why do her like that? That is so foul. Oh, and she has to get up on a little step
Sir
stool.
Desmond Callan.
Ooh, those are cool.
Do any of these knights have combat experience? Beyond capturing poachers?
Nope. Peace. I'm a peace.
I fought for a year as a foot soldier against the Dornish incursions.
I choose Sir Criston Cole.
Let's not be too hasty, princess.
Oh god, I hate when this
There's
fool's
no
right.
doubt, sir.
My father should be defended by a man who's known real combat.
I see where she's coming from. The crown should have actual fighters because it pops off. You need actual fighters by your side. But at the same time, you don't want to piss off these houses that you need.
The glory of old Valyria will never be seen again. 7 Hills.
Yeah, you dropping the dragon. Yeah, this right here is you dropping the dragon. Get away from her.
Tell me, how is Rhaenyra?
What do you mean?
Well, these days she doesn't say more than a few words to me. I think she might find it difficult to
Well, you're
discuss
the
personal
adult.
matters.
Well, you made her heir. I doubt she really has time for personal matters.
You do have such an easy way about you, Your Grace.
A little too easy.
You do not mention our talks to Rhaenyra, do you?
No.
I fear that she wouldn't understand them.
No, she probably would understand. She would, knowing Rhaenyra, she'd keep prying until she figures out what is this. No, y'all should be telling her, because I have no doubt she'd figure it out real quick. Because this don't make no goddamn sense.
Cannot worry at the matters of lords and kings, Rhaenyra.
Shouldn't she be worrying about that when she's supposed to be queen? Unless you know something, Alicent.
He chose you for his heir.
No, he didn't. Otto
He
did.
didn't choose me, he spurned Daemon.
That's exactly. Otto chose Rhaenyra. Viserys wanted to hurt Daemon, and that was the best way to do it. And Rhaenyra is just a victim to all this bull. It's been 6 months. Ugh. You don't get over that pain.
Thank you.
Ugh, such a horrible shame. Otto for doing this to them.
The Queen has passed. A girl has been named heir to the Iron Throne. The King's brother, so disinherited, has claimed the Targaryen seat on Dragonstone without challenge. And now a foreign power has established a colony in our most critical shipping lane.
You paint such an aspirant portrait of my reign.
It is an honor,
Yep.
cousin. At the moment.
I haven't given marriage much thought. It hasn't even been half a year since Emma passed.
If you don't listen, if you don't want to marry, then compromise. Give him his war. Say, okay, listen, I ain't marrying your daughter, but we'll deal with the stepstones. That way you won't have to fear for your fleets. But that would require Viserys to think, and he don't seem too good at that.
You can say whatever you'd like. You are the king.
I think he wants to hear father. You are my father, rather than king. But if you haven't established that relationship with her, and if there's a breakdown in there... Keep going. What else are you going to say? Sir! Oh my god.
Small
He's
council.
missing all the cues.
I thought I might have had some insight.
You're young.
But
You will learn.
Oh my god. Stop shutting her down and have a dialogue. Converse with her. Yeah, and then she leans back. Yep. She gives up.
Hopefully stop the advance of the rot.
Yeah. Oh, so the entire hand's gonna rot? The hand is rotting!
He proposed a marriage.
To whom?
Oh?
Your Grace?
Who else? Exactly.
Discussed with a small council.
That is what I'm doing.
You mean without
Present.
my say-so?
I do fear what Rhaenyra might think.
What does it matter, Your Grace?
They keep talking about how they need more heirs. I'm curious as to why Viserys did not absolve Daemon's marriage to Rhea Royce and marry him off to someone who he would create children with. Why is she so young? Isn't she supposed to be older than Rhaenyra?
Some would say too large for our
Why is
world.
she so young?
do you know where
I
she
don't get it.
rests?
I'm sorry? To the narrow sea.
The rocks of Spice Town report hearing her song at times.
I don't get it. Why is she? Why do they mess around with her age?
I imagine.
I would give you many children of pure Valyrian blood.
Oh my god, she's been coached. Jesus, this is so...
Is that what your father told you to say?
And who did this wig? Who thought this wig was okay? Why'd they age Lena down?
It bothers you, does it not?
My father is a king. It is his duty to take a new wife.
Because that is the order of things.
You know, strangely enough, I don't think
When
they
I'm queen, I will
rejected
create a new
Rhaenys.
order.
I think they rejected Corlys.
Oh, I wish that.
I mean, yes, her being a woman didn't help manners.
But the men of
I
the
don't think it was her and
realm
Laenor
opportunity
that they
to
denied. It
join
was
the
Corlys.
Great Council, and they denied it. Do you remind your father's men of that as you carry their cups?
Being the king's cupbearer is an honorable position.
Men would sooner put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne.
She's probably feels defeated by everything that she went through, but this way of thinking, Rhaenys,
And your
changes
father is
nothing.
no fool.
Are we sure about that? That was supposed. It feels like that was supposed to be a line, but are we sure he ain't a fool? And I don't think they rejected Corlys. I mean, I don't think they rejected Rhaenys. I think they rejected Corlys. They don't want him getting any more power than he already had accumulated. At least I think. I mean, yes, Rhaenys being a woman did not help. Laenor being so young didn't help. Corlys. They don't want him getting that much any more power than he already had.
I brought you something.
I'm sure she does not want this to go the way she knows that her father wants it to go. But at the same time, she has to make sure it goes the way her father wants it to go. Because she gets in trouble if it doesn't. Ugh. This is just so, this feels gross on so many levels. Both ways. On his and on hers.
My brother wishes to provoke me.
The realm is watching, Your Grace.
What would you have me do?
Drag his
Perhaps I
out.
could put his head on a spike.
Sir, he's Prince of Dragonstone is the seat of the heir. Rhaenyra should be there. What egg did he take? Well, that definitely got their attention, which is what I think Daemon wants.
My apologies, Your Grace, but I cannot allow it. It's too dangerous. Daemon is without limit. Let me go to Dragonstone.
What? I'm so confused. Why not send Viserys? This is another reason why he's not putting Rhaenyra up for heir seriously, because that's the seat of the heir. So having him sit there for 6 months, it just says, hey, Rhaenyra's position don't mean. Ooh, it has like little dragon hands, claws, talons, and all that coming out the ship. Hey, Dragonstone's back in the picture. I'm so confused as to what are they gonna do? What 21 guys? One of them old? I'm confused as to how this is gonna go. Oh, what a shot. That is gorgeous. Oh. He's like, I have the dragon egg.
Welcome to Dragonstone, Otto.
He doesn't call him Sir Otto.
Where is the king? I don't see him.
His Grace would never lower himself to entertain such a mummer's farce.
See, even he's like, wait a minute. He said he would have come.
Wasn't it?
And a fart. Okay, so he tells Viserys Daemon's without limits. He doesn't want him to go because it's dangerous. And then he says to Daemon that we know this is just a joke. He doesn't want Viserys and Daemon to meet again.
Are you mad? You'd never survived this.
Well, happily, neither would you.
Your king.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I don't see him minding any of this.
Your unborn child and its mother.
Oh. Daemon said, try that. Say that again. Is that Craxes? We're gonna see him. Ah! Bloodworm! My little long neck noodle! Oh, shit in your pants now, huh? Burn him, Daemon! Just burn him and end the fucking show. Yeah, I don't know why you thought this was a good idea. He knows nothing's gonna happen. That's why Otto came. He felt safe because he knows Daemon is not what he paints him out to be. Otherwise, why come and risk fucking life like this? Because he knows it's not a risk. Daemon's not killing. What? Oh, another dragon? Rhaenyra? Oh, the clouds parting! That was so cool! Oh, man. The dragon's in the sky on Dragonstone! She rolled up herself. She's like, I want my brother's egg back. Give me back his egg right now. That looked like a hard landing. I love the dragon scales on her, like, riding, I want to call it a riding uniform. Her riding gown, her riding clothes. It's a wonder how her hair stays so, like, no frizz, no flyaways.
The princess to safety.
Why is he holding the egg like that? Which is why you should be living there. Exactly. Why are you still in King's Landing? She is of age, ain't she? How old is she? He did that to get your attention, as well as Viserys.
I'm right here, Uncle. The object of your ire. The reason that you were disinherited.
Ire or...
If you wish to be restored as heir,
desire.
you'll need to kill me. Do it. And be done with all this bother.
Ooh, I like it. Okay, girl. But yes. And I think he likes it too. But he's staring her down. Oh. She seemed to blink first. He's like, okay. What y'all gonna do? He wanted Viserys, I think. That's why he took the egg. Aww. I think she feels happy that she was able to accomplish something, as well as the fact that she got her brother's egg back. Otto did not want Daemon and Viserys meeting. That much I think is clear from this scene. And to me, it seems Daemon wanted Viserys to come. That's why he took that egg. Because he got up so quick. What's that look? I think he's realizing she ain't gonna be that easy to get rid of. She'll laugh like, have fun walking! And he still has the gold cloaks with him. And they part like the Red Sea when he comes through.
You announced that we were to be wed?
So she's not actually pregnant.
Decides to reclaim his ancestral seat.
For his daughter, which he should be doing.
No, please, Lord Lionel.
Fun fact, I think he was supposed to be Rhaenyra's husband in like the original outline.
And you acted without the crown's leave. You are my only heir. You could have been killed.
Daughter? You know, maybe the reason she refers to you as king is because you referred to her as heir, not daughter. There is so much miscommunication in this relationship, it's not even funny anymore. Are you that incapable of having a conversation with your child? Sir.
And retrieve the egg without bloodshed. A feat I'm not sure Sir Otto could have accomplished alone.
I struggled to realize that my daughter had so quickly become a woman grown.
Oh. He's finally saying the things she wants to hear.
But I know no more than I intend to replace you as heir. And our line is vulnerable, too easily ended. To take a new wife.
Oh God, Corlys. Lean back in that scene. Lean back. Oh, Rhaenyra. Oh, Rhaenyra. She's about to lose more. Oh, she's in the room? Oh. What? Oh my God, this is so
the Lady Alicent
awkward. Oh my God. This is how she found out in front of
before spring's end.
Look at this smug I hate Otto! And Corlys like, what the hell? You would think Viserys would have learned from his ancestors when it comes to the High Towers.
And I am your king.
Well, if that's how I am your king and this is how everything has to be, then why are you remarrying? Oh, this nasty. I can't stand Otto. Oh, throw him off the cliff. And this right here. Oh my God. What does this girl have left now? What does she have left? Don't say my name. Say my name. You don't want us to be estranged and then you go marry my best friend. What is this? I'm out too. F all y'all. F all this. Did you... how'd you think this was gonna go? How did he think this was gonna go? What is this? What am I seeing on my screen? Oh.
Unlike every other lord of the realm, I can say that I built my house's high seat with the strength
That's
of my
why they
back.
didn't choose your wife and your son. I think they feared him. Rhaenys being a woman played a role, but his ambition, his intelligence, his strength put the fear of God into them. They didn't want the Corlys getting any more power.
It was never my brother's strongest trait.
What?
Being king.
That's a good line.
The king's failures have allowed him to accumulate strength.
They grow bolder.
And balls and tourneys.
I will speak of my brother as I wish. You will not.
Oh, the exact. Yeah, he was like, careful now. I can criticize my brother. You can't.
Our worth is not given. It must be made.
Strong words. Okay, so that was another good episode. I really enjoyed this one. And once again, Paddy Constantine, who plays Viserys, was another chef's kiss. He was excellent. And another person that I really liked was Rhaenyra, who's played by Millie Alcock. She was another fave. So those two, I give this episode to. They stole the show. Now, I first want to say I'm a firm believer that multiple things can be true at once. One thing does not invalidate another truth. Both things can be true, and even these things that are true can be in conflict, because I think human beings are very complicated creatures. And I'm referring all of this to the power dynamics that exist between Otto, Viserys, and Alicent. It is very interesting to get into. At first, you would think Viserys has all the power in this situation. He's king, plain and simple. He has the authority. Then it would be Otto, then it would be Alicent. And this is true. This does not stop being true. But in this case, with context, Viserys has the least amount of power in this entire situation. Because when you factor in the grief and the vulnerability that he's in, the loneliness, the isolation, the guilt, the sadness, you put all of that in there, and then you also add the lack of awareness and the knowledge he has of Otto's plan, that further puts him down the chain of power in this situation, because Alicent knows where this is going to go. Otto knows where this is going to go. He's orchestrating all of this, but Viserys does not. He's completely unaware. Otto holds all of the cards. Alicent is a pawn, and Viserys is his victim. And Alicent is, of course, as well. She's a given, but Viserys is as well. He is taking advantage of both of them. Alicent's involvement in all of this is very tricky. It's a very tricky place that she's in. Do I believe she has a choice in all of this? It's equal parts yes and equal parts no. Could she tell the king what's going on here? Could she tell him that her father has sent her here? And then kind of just leave it open-ended as to why he would send her here? Could she confide in Rhaenyra, her best friend, what's going on, which she clearly has not in the past like half a year? Could she do all of this? Yes. But then, on the other side, this could endanger her father. And when the choice is between yourself and your dad, the man who you love, or you are taught to love your father, or at the very least obey your father, no matter what he does or how he treats you. When the choices are between your father and yourself, you're going to choose your father. And so that's where the no aspect comes into play. Like, no, she doesn't really have a choice in this, because to say something is to potentially harm her father. So she keeps the secret. And I do think it's interesting that Viserys did not swear Alicent to secrecy until, like 6 months in. So all this time in Viserys's mind, I guess, she could have been telling Rhaenyra, and I do find it interesting that wasn't like one of the first things Viserys wanted to lock down. Like, you've been spending all this time with her, and she could have been telling Rhaenyra, and yikes. But he didn't really say anything until half a year later. He didn't question whether or not she was telling Rhaenyra this, and he didn't ask her to say nothing until like half a year into them like getting close. So I do find that to be an interesting tidbit. I do wonder if Otto did swear her to secrecy and don't tell Rhaenyra. I do wonder. That's not really made clear. Now, speaking of Rhaenyra, I want to get into her relationship with her father. It seems to me the disconnect here is Viserys wants Rhaenyra to see him as dad over seeing him as king, because there's a moment where they're at the dinner table and she refers to him like, you are the king, and there's this look in his face like, you can tell he probably says, I want you to call me father. Like, that's what I am. That's what I feel I am to you first. That disconnect is happening there. And I feel like I feel like they had that father-daughter relationship in the first episode. That's what they were. And that's what Rhaenyra's fear was of this boy being born, that will now lessen with the son in the picture. But that relationship, in terms of them as father and daughter, has completely fractured. And it's going to even fracture even worse now that he's engaged to Alicent. Plus, that ending scene between them, or like the second to last scene, I think it was, where he says, you're my only heir, rather than you're my only child. I think that further distanced them from father and daughter, and it kind of solidifies them in the king and heir dynamic. So Unfortunately, I think they're failing. Well, Viserys particularly, because you are the adult in this scenario. You are the father. You should. It should not be on your. How old is Rhaenyra? 14. I think she's 14. Someone said the age 14, or maybe no. I think 14 was they wouldn't have to bed Lane until she's 14. I think that was the age. I don't know how old Rhaenyra is, but I'm assuming she's like maybe 15. So yeah, that onus should be on the father. It shouldn't be on the grieving daughter. But that's just me. And it's interesting that he and she are sliding more into the king and heir kind of dynamic when Viserys is like failing at preparing her or like legitimizing her to the realm that this is your heir. Like, she's not just heir in name. She's not just a placeholder till I have a son. She is your future monarch. And he is doing a crap job at doing that. You got Daemon living on Dragonstone for half a year. He just went back. He lives on Dragonstone. That is the seat of the heir. That's where he stays. And he just, like, Rhaenyra is named heir, and he takes off and goes back to Dragonstone. Like, so she's not even sitting or living at the seat of her power. She's not even in her own castle. So that's one strike. She's treated like her opinions don't matter. At the council, they don't take her seriously. She's like still pouring drinks for these councilmen at this table. She doesn't sit amongst them. She pours their drinks. I would say, to make matters even worse, in private, her father doesn't even like counsel her or teach her. Like, she wants to learn. She's clearly like starting up conversations about the King's Guard, and she wants to speak about political matters. I mean, not only can he not speak easily about matters concerning the personal, he seems to not be able to do so in regards to business. Like, the King's Guard, this is, she's trying to make, it's not even like small talk. It's just a conversation between a king and his heir and his father and daughter. Like, these two things can, overlap, and they're not. Not only are they not overlapping, it's failing in father and daughter, and it's failing as king and heir. But she's trying to learn, and he shuts her off. And there was this moment, which was an excellent acting choice and a directing choice, whether it was the actor's choice or the director's choice. It was an excellent choice that she's sitting forward and she's engaged, like she's looking to have a conversation. When her father continually keeps shutting her off, she keeps trying, and then eventually she slouches back. Great choice of acting, great choice of directing. She's disconnected. She's been shut down so many times that it's like, why bother? It's like you knock on the door, no one answers. You knock on the door again, no one answers. You knock on the door a third time, no one answers. Eventually you stop knocking. And the worst part is there's someone inside that house. and it's funny because to me it's like Viserys is in the house, he hears the knocking, and he's trying to open the door, but he can't. For some reason, he just can't open the door. There's a desire to open the door and let the other person on the other side in, which is Rhaenyra, but he can't. For some reason, he can't just turn that knob of that lock. But I think that was an excellent choice to just have her lean back and to show that she's given up in this conversation. But yeah, in that scene, she wants to be taught. She wants to be told specifically, like, here's how I think Viserys should have done it. When, instead of throwing her out, well, technically it's Otto that suggests she should be shushed out, which is very interesting because, once again, he seems to be having a problem with Rhaenyra asserting herself, which, of course, he does have a problem with that because she's only a placeholder. But what Viserys should have done is, when she's spoken up, ask her why. Why do you think this, in her mind, why do you think this is the better course of action? Get into her head and ask her why, and have stop the council and let her speak. And get into her head, see where she's coming from, see where she's at now, see what she has in her head already, and what more does she have to learn. And then, after giving her answer, question her, like, okay, but here's what happens if we bring the dragons out. And if this happens, how would you deal with that? What are the repercussions here? Question her, invite her into the table. She's so far away. Like in both scenes in that council with her, she's so distant from that council, from where business and court matters are being held. She's so far away. She's even further away than when she was pouring them drinks. So yeah, it's just there. When you're teaching someone, you don't just say you will learn. She has to be in the room to learn. She has to be given a voice to learn, and he doesn't even give her that. So yeah, that's frustrating to all hell. I mean, he says he does not plan on replacing her as heir, but the way he behaves, it kind of validates what Rhaenys was implying earlier, that he doesn't really see her as his heir. She's just a placeholder. But she also says Viserys is no fool, and child, that man is a straight walking fool, dumb as a rubber thumb. Just head empty, because this man seems to be incapable of critical thinking, or at least planning something out, or scaling the consequences, or he does and he just doesn't care. Because if you don't plan on replacing her, as he says, no one can replace your mother, and I don't plan on I don't intend on replacing you as heir. If that is how you feel, then that would then give pause to marrying Laena. He says he doesn't want, the only downside to marrying Laena, there's only one downside in his eyes: her age, which they did. I'm pretty sure they aged Laena, and I'm trying to think what would be the reason, because I would imagine you would do so with the intent, maybe for the visual effect of getting a very young actress and aging her down this much. Would probably try to, like, in the average general audience just sitting there, it's like, well, of course he's not gonna. But when you think about it in these times, I doubt age is that much. I mean, it doesn't age is that I mean, kids are betrothed to I mean, at such a, I mean, from birth kids are betrothed, so it's like, her being that young, I don't think it would really matter. That would be so commonplace for a man like Viserys. But I feel like changing the age is more so, once it's like changing Rhaenys' hair. It's a visual aid to try to make Viserys' choice of Alicent less egregious. However, when you look into the scope of the world, no, age really doesn't matter that much. In this case, when you really think about Laena's age, there's an advantage to that. And this is why I don't buy the whole Viserys is no fool, because if he was truly smart, he would look at he would be trying to find a way to work around Laena's age, because pissing off the Valerians, who are already ticked off about the fact that his fleet is getting attacked and you're doing nothing, and he is asking you to do something. He's asked for you to do something twice and you have done nothing. He's getting pissed. And not to mention, he says he's already felt, the Corlys' like anger towards him in regards to the council's decision to choose him over Rhaenys. That still weighs heavily on him. And you're further pissing this house off. A very powerful house. One could argue a more powerful house than you. Actually, no, that's not an argument. They are more powerful than you. And you are continually pissing this man off. There are far more upsides to marrying Laena than there are downsides, especially if her age is the one thing that is holding you back. Then why not try to flip the age conversation on its head and say, okay, how can I turn this into advantage? Oh, I know. I want Rhaenyra to be heir. Plain and simple. I want her to be heir. I don't want to replace her. If you are truly serious about this, marry Laena, because you can use her age as a cover. You can spend that time that Laena would have. You want Laena to get older before you better. Fine. As you said to Corlys, I am the king. Who the fuck won't check me? If I'm not sleeping with her, I'm not sleeping with her. Yes, I know you have to consummate a marriage in order for it to be real, but at the end of the day, like he says, I'm king. Who won't check me? He said it to Corlys so emphatically. If you're capable of saying it there, say it again when people start questioning you about why you won't bed Laena. But in this case, when it comes to Rhaenyra, you want her to be heir. Don't start popping out kids that can threaten her position as heir. You know better than anyone, considering coming off the Council of 101, how this realm feels about women and ruling. And then you go coming off of the succession crisis that you found yourself king underneath that, like the results of that is you being king. You are here because they denied a woman, and now you're putting a woman up. You already know what this realm feels like towards women, and now you're going to start popping out kids, one could be a guy, and that could threaten Rhaenyra's position. Come on now, please think. Use Lena's age to hide behind her age. With that being said, what the hell is Daemon doing marrying Rhea Royce? What is that? I don't see any benefits to that. None. If he refuses to bed this woman to be her husband, refusing to have heirs because he doesn't want to be married to this woman, why not try to find a compromise with Daemon? You know, he wants to be hand. You're like, no, that's not happening. But here's what I can do. Let's work together to find some kind of compromise. I'm not just going to kick you out. And that was an emotional decision. And once again, him marrying Alicent was an emotional decision. He makes his choice off of his emotions. And I feel like that, Otto knows that. And he uses that to his advantage. He makes his decisions based off. Even making Rhaenyra heir was an emotional decision. It wasn't one of practicality. It wasn't one that he thought through. It was based off his emotional mindset. As Rhaenyra says, he did not choose me. He disinherited Daemon. I was not chosen. If anyone chose Rhaenyra, it was Otto, and she wasn't chosen to be heir. She was chosen to be a placeholder. Now, if Viserys means it, use Lena's age to hide behind, and when she does come of age, say, I'm king, I don't have to bed her. And this is where Daemon comes in. Absolve that fucking marriage that's going nowhere, because he says to Rhaenyra, our line is all too vulnerable. That line has been vulnerable for a very long time. Before Daemon said heir for a day, that line has been vulnerable. It's only been Rhaenyra and Daemon as his possible heirs for a long time. And to be honest, if I'm being honest, I don't think Viserys had a problem with that. I honestly don't think he had a problem with Daemon being heir. I think his need for a son was linked to that dream he had. I think so. I think the reason he pushed for a son was not to replace Daemon. It was to fulfill his dream. At least that's how I feel. I feel like that's what it was really about. It was less to do with an heir. He didn't seem too concerned about having a new heir. He really didn't. And the only reason he even disinherited Daemon, because Rhaenyra was there for all this time, and the only reason he didn't disinherit Daemon in favor of Rhaenyra was because he didn't feel like he had to. At least I don't think he did. I feel like his desire for a son was directly linked to that dream he told Aemma about. But yeah, if your line has been this vulnerable for that long, and Daemon's just sitting in this damn marriage and it's going nowhere at the expense of House Targaryen's security, you have all these dragons, no writers. You only have two people. You saw how easily your father died. I don't think the show brought up how his father died, but his father died. Like, you see how easy that can go. Like, you were put up, and like the entire succession crisis comes about because his Balon the Brave. Balon, it's question marks on why Viserys does the things he does, and why doesn't he think things through? Is he incapable of doing that? Because bring Daemon back into the fold. If he wants to be hand, that means he wants to be close. He wants to be at your side. He all but said it. Bring him closer. I think it's like Otto and Viserys. Viserys is easier to control if he's the one at his side. Why not take the same? Why can't Viserys see that it can be the same thing with Daemon? Daemon can be easier to control if you bring him close. Viserys is easy to control when Otto gives him what he wants. It's why he keeps turning the conversation from business to pleasure. Try to give Daemon what he wants, and he'll be far easier to handle. He doesn't want to be in this marriage? let him go. Not only is that a good thing for House Targaryen, because you now have more kids involved. You have, just in case, you have more kids to shore up the line. Now, because they're off they're the child of the second son, granted, that could cause even more of a succession crisis, because the realm would probably see Daemon's sons as a better alternative than Rhaenyra, since she's a girl, so that can still cause problems. But at the same time, yeah, you do need more kids in the royal fold, because you only got Rhaenyra and Daemon, you only got Syrax and Caraxes. I'm not including Rhaenys and Meleys and Seasmoke and Laenor, because at this point, Corlys is pissed off as it is. Who knows if you got them on your side at this point? They are a question mark to be decided. He's bad-mouthing him to Daemon at this point. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense to piss off such a powerful house in favor of Alicent. And that is something I have no doubt Rhaenyra is capable of putting together. So you're telling me I have been grieving my mother all alone, and you have been buddying up to my best friend, and my best friend has been buddying up to my father behind my back? Are you insane? For you to have made such a dire choice as king and as head of House Targaryen to piss off another Valyrian family, a powerful family, in favor of Alicent, how close have you two must have gotten? And to blindside her like that, like, you don't pull your child away and say, like, you say you don't want us to be estranged, and she's your heir. Shouldn't you take the time to say, okay, this is who I'm going to marry, and then bring her into this? Alicent knew. Clearly she knew before Rhaenyra did. What? Sir, not only is this your child, this is your heir. She should be brought into matters like this. She should matter to you. You say she does, but your actions tell me another. She should matter to you. And Rhaenyra on the bridge, because I feel like that scene was pretty self-explanatory. You know, Daemon and Rhaenyra first meet after he's named heir, and it's clear that he's not gonna harm her, you know? And I think Daemon knows she didn't ask for this. She didn't ask for any of it. She's being thrusted into a situation she did not ask for. And she's being put in this position partially because of your actions. That whole heir for a day sparked a fire under her father and named her. So now here we are. You can, in Daemon's eyes, you might as well just blame yourself. I mean, yes, Otto is manipulating things up there, but blame yourself in this case, Daemon. Do I think it was an overreaction to disinherit Daemon because he said heir for a day? Kinda. I mean, dude, don't just disinherit him like that, but that's why the throne cut his ass. Oh, that hand is rotting. The hand is rotten. I like how the show did that. They like showed his hand going into like the maggots, and then it panned over to Otto. Yep, that hand is fucking rotting you to your bones, sir. Your finger, it's like rotting away, my dude. You know, that finger could be like Daemon. He lost Daemon. And it's clear to me Otto wants that relationship to crumble, because Daemon took that egg to lure his brother out. He's like, come see me, brother. Let us talk. And I feel like Otto fears that Daemon and Viserys could forgive one another and bond back together. And Otto does not want that. That is the last thing Otto wants. He does not want Daemon in this fold. Then, because he says to Viserys that, I'm trying to think, Daemon is without limits, I think he says, or essentially he's a loose cannon. You don't know what he'll do. Once again, he is insinuating that Daemon will harm his brother, physically harm him. So let me go in your place. He goes, and then he says something differently. He calls it a farce. He knows what this is. It's plain as day what this is. Viserys all but says he's doing this to provoke me. Of course he is. He wants your attention. He's a little brother. This is all he knows how to do, is poke at you. Of course, Daemon's version of poking is just outright disrespectful. Yeah, let's take the egg that belonged to his dead son. Yeah, That's his version of poking at his brother. But yeah, because usually, what are you gonna do against Daemon, the Gold Cloaks, and a goddamn dragon? 21 guys strolling up. Hey, we want the egg back and want you to clear house. Then you're not doing anything. And so Viserys, Otto knew he was safe. Otto knew Daemon wasn't going to do anything. Yes, he looked scared when Craxus came out. Who the fuck wouldn't? But at the same time, he knew he was safe. He knew Daemon wasn't going to do anything. That's why he felt safe enough to show the hell up with that pathetic showing of an army. I want to shout out Lionel Strong. You were one of the very few people. Trying to think if there was anyone else who had some goddamn sense in this episode, other than Rhaenyra had some sense. Rhaenyra had some sense. Lionel had some sense. I would pour Rhaenys in there, but man, your line of thinking I completely understand from an emotional standpoint, but from a things will never change if you stay in that headspace standpoint, you are on the wrong path of thinking. Some things need to be fought for. I understand. She's probably still brokenhearted over it. I don't believe she's necessarily gotten over it. And so she's now kind of breathing that yes, in her mind, she's helping Rhaenyra and telling her the hard truth, but defeating this girl's will, because it doesn't seem like she's preparing her. Like, this is going to be the fight of your life, Rhaenyra. She's not like she's saying that. She's like, she's trying to pop that bubble. Popping Rhaenyra's bubble is not going to change anything. Things won't change if you just like stay in this defeatist attitude. Things aren't going to get better. The realm is never going to expect, she says, it's the order of things. Well, it's the order of things because that's the expectation. The expectation will not change unless things are challenged like this. But I would say the standouts of this episode: Rhaenyra, Viserys, one for Lionel Strong, because he was the only one in this episode with some goddamn sense. Marry Lena. I hope he stays true. He seems like a good dude. Stay solid, Lionel, because God knows it's a rarity in this world to meet honest men. So, you do you, Lionel. Next episode, I would imagine we're going to see the whole fallout of Rhaenyra and Alicent. Alicent's probably going to have to lie to Rhaenyra. Like, when Rhaenyra questions her, like, how could you do this? Like, what the hell is this? I would imagine she's going to have to lie because she can't tell the truth about her father. That puts him in danger, that puts his position. I don't see Viserys taking Otto's head for like treason, because this is technically treason. Acting without honesty towards your king, manipulating him, that is treason. Viserys ain't taking nobody's goddamn head, at least of all Otto's at this point. So I don't see him being in mortal danger. But to Alicent, she doesn't know that. She thinks she could get her daddy killed for this shit. So she ain't saying anything to Rhaenyra. So I guess Alicent's gonna once again have to lie, because yeah, she was lying to Rhaenyra. It's a lie of omission, still a lie. So that's gonna be hard to watch. And Rhaenyra, I think Rhaenyra's just losing everything. I feel like she's lost her uncle, that place of confidence that he represented, I think, to her, is gone. Because she seemed only willing to open up to him in that first episode at the funeral and tell the truth about how she really felt about this boy. Like, she will never be a son to her father. She seemed willing to open up to Alicent in this episode a bit more, but she's still hesitant. So she's lost her uncle. That relationship is now fraught over this goddamn heir position. She's lost her mother. She's lost her brother. She's about to lose her best friend. She probably feels betrayed by her father and Alicent. And who wouldn't? Who wouldn't feel betrayed? Like, my mother's memory is it even cold yet? Like, her body was still probably smoking on that pyre when Alicent entered that room. Yes, she does not want to. I get that. But Rhaenyra doesn't know any of this. She does not have the knowledge. Both she and Viserys are working on the back end of this. They do not have any knowledge of what's going on about anything. Viserys doesn't know this is a plot to kind of take power by Otto, by his hand. He's trusting his hand. His hand is literally rotting away as some kind of metaphor about Otto. Rhaenyra doesn't know that Alicent is being commanded. She just thinks, hey, my mother just died. My father, my best friend, was spending so much time together that he's willing to anger the most powerful house in the realm. Are you kidding me? That's a deep betrayal. She loses her best friend and her father in like one fell swoop. My heart goes out to Rhaenyra. Goes out to Alicent as well, because she, you know, she's put in a situation as well. But yeah, my heart goes out to Rhaenyra. And this crab feeder plot, I hope it goes somewhere of value. I don't want it to be something like a throwaway. At least I hope it doesn't. Because it's been hinted twice now. We saw it in episode 1. We hear it again in episode 2. Now Corlys is recruiting Daemon. They're about to go off and squashbuckle against pirates. That should be fun. Well, if you like this reaction, go ahead and give it a like. Tell me what you thought about this episode below. Tell me if you think Rhaenyra and Alicent will ever have a chance of learning the truth, like telling each other the truth of all of this. Well, Alicent being able to, because I don't think she's capable of telling Rhaenyra the truth. I don't think this truth is going to come out, for if it ever does, that this was not her intention. She did not want to be here. This was all of her father's doing. I don't see Alicent saying anything. I do wonder if this will ever come to light. So tell me if you all think Alicent will ever be able to tell Rhaenyra the truth of how she ended up marrying her father at such a horrible time. And subscribe if you want to see more reactions. They'll be coming. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a good one.